Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. He's Mike Brenner. I'm Peter Loshak. It's week 3 in the NFL. Today is Tuesday, and we're doing our weekly look at the injury reports. The NFL injuries are huge. You're injured right now.
Yeah, I'm on the DL too, Jordan.
So
but
you know you have firsthand experience as to how much an injury can really affect you. Of course, in the NFL, that is huge. And we're going to talk with Jordan Sharp, get his in-depth takes on all these injuries. Of course, the first one, the biggest one, Jimmy Garoppolo, right? That goes down. Now, when Brady was out for those games, we sort of knew because Belichick had so much time to repair. He had faith in Garoppolo. We thought that the Pats wouldn't lose a step.
And
with
they
Garoppolo.
didn't. And Garoppolo has been sitting back there for a minute, and he has been nothing but a sponge. But who saw that injury coming?
Right. Now you got Brissett on a short week.
Yep.
Now I'm not so sure. Let's see if Jordan has any sort of certainty about this. Jordan, what do you think?
Shine the light.
Yeah, there is absolutely no chance Jimmy Garoppolo plays this week. One, I think all the smoke and mirrors they're trying to play is just classic New England Patriots. So it's going to be Brissett, and it might get ugly. But in the end, I wouldn't just completely fade the Patriots here. You know, maybe there's some teaser value if they're underdogs here. You know, maybe a small outright play. But Brissett, it's one of those things you don't know what you're getting with him this week.
Right, and but you do know what you're getting. Do you think that Belichick had so much foresight that he was like, all right, I'm going to be prepared in the preseason, even if Garoppolo goes down, we're going to go in there with Brissett and not miss a beat and surprise everyone yet again? I
mean, the Texans are on a short week too, and they're on the road. I mean, that's why I'm saying I don't think you can just automatically fade the Patriots here and feel pretty good about it. So I don't. At this point, it's kind of a no play for me on this game just because of all the unknown at this point. But I agree with you. Anything is possible. Brissett could come out and surprise all of us. We don't know. That's the problem with handicapping this game.
I think unfortunately all three of us don't know. The whole world doesn't know what to think.
They don't know what to think. But I do know one thing: if Bill Belichick drafted this Brissett, this kid's going to be prepared sooner than later.
Right.
And Osweiler, he's got a lot to prove.
Sure.
Still does. But it's going to be interesting. I'm like Jordan. I'm staying the hell away from that one.
Yeah, he's going to be prepared sooner than later, but on a short week is that soon?
Yeah, that's tough.
I mean, my God. All right, other injury, another big one. I'm not sure if maybe it might actually have less impact than people are thinking. Adrian Peterson out. McKinnon and Asiata will replace him. Basically, it's going to be the same plan from the Vikings. There's a lot of debate as to how much this loss affects them. What do you think, Mike?
And this is just a list of many of the running backs. Yeah, that's just the head of the list. With Peterson, I don't think it's a big blow. You and I talked about it. I think Jordan even touched on it. I don't think AP was going to be anywhere near what he was last year. He had that year off. He benefited. Now he's coming back after a regular year. That injury, that's what happens. I don't think they missed too much of a beat.
What do you think, Jordan Sharp?
Yeah, I mean, they were going to lose this game regardless now, and it only took up the line maybe a half a point here. So obviously the sports books don't seem to think that it's going to mean too much either. Matt Asiata's not a bad running back. They don't really trust Jerick McKinnon, but I expect this to be yet again another dink and dunk week for this team. A lot of Stephon Diggs. I don't think it's going to matter too much. However, definitely leaning towards the Panthers at this point. I think that their offense is good enough to beat that Minnesota Vikings defense, and at home against this team, I think that may just give them a little bit of value.
All right.
Another thing moving forward for the betting edge. Another thing, and I'm telling you, the Vikings now definitely know they've got to go a different route with a running back for the future. AP is no longer going to be, their number one option. So with that being said, look for them to start working and pumping more on that running game.
All right, now let me ask you about this one. The Chargers, they lost Keenan Allen. That was a big loss last week. Now they lose Danny Woodhead.
Huge.
That's a big loss. He was a great compliment to Melvin Gordon.
He's a leader.
They catch a little bit of a break, though, because they're going up against the Colts, who are as banged up as they are, and maybe started out from a lower point as well. So maybe it doesn't affect them so much this week. But how much of a loss is Danny Woodhead, do you think?
Well, Woodhead is a big loss. Sorry, Mike. I was just going to say Woodhead's a big loss for this team. But like we said, what was it last week, Pete? We were talking about Keenan Allen. What does Pete's system say that Danny Woodhead could?
Danny Woodhead is worth 1/15 of a point according to my model.
1/15 of a point.
Less than Keenan Allen for sure, right?
No, I have no idea. I mean, sometimes when you lose like one key offensive, weapon, you can make up for it. But then when you start losing, 2 and 3 and 4, there's a synergistic effect, and your whole offense can collapse. With Phillip Rivers, maybe you give him anything and he can get something done.
There's no doubt. But here's another thing, Pete. There's something you can't even grade it on a point, 1/15. Danny Woodhead is a great leader on that sideline, along with Rivers. Those two, their attitude, it's just that they're just grinding. They're the guys I want in the trenches with me. That is where it's priceless. You
Really?
can't put a price on leadership
So
in
you're
a
saying
locker
he's
room.
an emotional leader that
big time.
really.
He's huge.
Wow. All right. So what do you think? But and they get a break though. Maybe they bounce back with his loss because they are going up against the Colts.
The Colts, and I don't know if you guys saw it, but Publix Supermarket just lost 2 bag boys because the Colts just brought them in as defensive backs.
All right. One other team that I want to talk about that's very banged up, getting a lot of hits, is the Lions, right? Amir Abdullah went down.
2 years in a row now he's done that.
Ansah went down. I guess Theo Riddick can be a decent replacement for him, but they've had a bunch of guys who went down, and they're going to be a big dog at Green Bay. Maybe this is a week where they just get blown out. What do you think? The injuries are going to play a big role for the Lions ATS this week, Jordan?
Yeah, I think so. The problem with not having Abdullah is now they're pretty one-dimensional, and Green Bay has some injuries in their secondary too. So it's not like it's a complete home run on this. But yeah, I think the Packers could be susceptible to some passing here because not only is the Lions a pretty good passing game, but they don't have many other options right now. Theo Riddick is definitely not an every down back. He's not a between the tackles guy. So they're going to have to throw the ball this week. I think the fact they're getting 8.5 might actually be a little bit of a value here, just because Green Bay's defense really in the secondary has not proven that they can stop many guys yet. So until they do that, I think I have to favor at least the Lions just a little bit here. But I agree. I think that maybe that extra point or a point and a half you're getting here because of the Abdullah injury might actually give the Lions some value.
All right, and then there's one other injury situation that I want to ask your opinions on. The Saints are at home against the Falcons, right? First, 2 weeks ago, again, just like the Chargers, they lost Delvin Breaux, a big cornerback. Now they got their next replacement, P.J. Williams, in concussion protocol. And we know that the Falcons have a potent passing game. That's a lot of injuries in the secondary to start piling up for the Saints. Are they in trouble this week in the secondary, Jordan Sharp?
Yes, they were in trouble after week 1 when they lost that good corner. I think like a rookie corner or something. That highly drafted guy. I can't remember his name, but then now that the injuries keep piling up, and the Falcons and Matt Ryan had a really down year last year throwing the football. I think it was Matt Ryan's worst professional season. He's getting 30 years old. People are kind of writing him off. He's kind of proving the doubters wrong over the last few weeks. He's looked as sharp as anybody out there, and yes, the New Orleans Saints are in big trouble. But the problem is, the Falcons' defense is almost as bad as the Saints. So, what do you think? Shootout in this one? I'm not really sure how to look at this Monday night game right now.
Yeah, I'm not either. But one thing I think of when you're talking about the Saints' defense being bad for week 1, hell, they've been so bad for so long. Remember last year? The thing that worries me, going back, I got to go back to Detroit. What worries me about Stafford is when this happened last year, when he ended a couple games on an interception, he started really taking a nosedive. I'm anxious to see how he bounces back.
Yeah. All right. And then be aware, Doug Martin took an injury. And
that's huge.
That's huge. Okay. You want to take that one?
No, I can't because I don't have any more voice. But you better touch on it. Right. It's huge.
This is what happens when injury happens. That's huge. And then DeMarcus Ware also out for Denver. Is that huge?
6 weeks.
Yeah, 5 or 6 weeks. How big of a deal is that? Obviously, Denver still has
Von Miller, baby. You got Von Miller. Says, put it on my back. But
still
no,
got other
huge.
Guys. It is huge. Okay, Jordan Sharp, what can you comment on as far as the Doug Martin injury and DeMarcus Ware?
I think the Doug Martin injury not going to hurt as much. Charles Sims, capable backup. I think they'll be fine if he misses this week. The Ware injury does hurt a little bit, but like you guys said, I mean, they have the best pass rusher in the league in Von Miller, and they have a very deep defense. I think they can stomach at you. He's only going to be out like a month or so it's not like it's the end of the season for DeMarcus Ware at all. He could probably play with a big cast on his arm after a month or so. So I'm not too worried about him in the short term. Yeah, it's going to hurt, but I don't think it's going to hurt enough to really move the lines in that one at all. We haven't touched on it yet, though, and I guess I'm interested in what you guys have to say on this one. Josh McCown going down. I mean, are the Browns an automatic fade this week? Because that's kind of how I'm leaning.
Well, Mike Brenner does think they're an automatic fade. I
heard they're bringing Manziel back.
This is a game. I'm very careful about labeling teams and situations automatic fade. So this is definitely one that I'm going to look into more, but I can certainly understand the immediate argument for the automatic fade. And if you did what Mike Brenner did and you grabbed the line on the opener, you got a good line. Mike Brenner in our show took -8 on Monday, and now, of course, it's 10 or 10.5 or whatever it is market-wide. So, Mike Brenner, do you have anything to say about, or your voice is gone?
Yeah, my voice is gone, buddy. I got to step back. I really, really do.
All right, okay. Jordan Sharp, what do you think? You do think it's an automatic? I mean, Cody Kessler, how much of a step down? Obviously, it's a big step down, but now the market's compensating, right? They're giving the Browns a ton of points.
Yeah, and he didn't look great in the preseason either. That's the other problem for this right now. And Miami's defense, I mean, is the real deal. Their offense may not be great right now. They're kind of a work in progress, but that defense is pretty good. They've been playing well. They've limited 2 pretty good offenses here, at least the last couple of weeks, even though they haven't gotten it done. But I think that the Browns could just literally not score any points in this game. Maybe actually a better play, safer play potentially, just because the line's all the way up to 10 to go with the under. 41 to hook's not a bad line, considering that if Cleveland's in single digits, you have to think that Miami's still not scoring 30 even against that Browns defense.
Right.
So
Jordan Sharp, so let's wrap it up. Just tell us your top 1 or 2 takeaways from injuries that'll impact the spreads in NFL Week 3.
I guess top 3. That's tough. With this,
in terms of your opinion, to be aware of that might that we might think about in terms of value.
Stay away from New England, Houston, fade the Browns, and look for a lot of offense on Monday night, I guess. Those would be
Jordan Sharp, awesome. We'll talk to you again next week.
Do your research before you bet. Check out our ratings guide to see which books have the best ratings and sign-up bonuses. Open up several accounts. Shop for lines at sbrodds.com. Always be ahead of the game.